can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So, a good performance from both.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. Right, on the show today, after a fantastic run at the Champions Trophy, India's KL Rahul will head into the IPL season. But there is commotion before the season even begins, with the wicketkeeper batter turning down captaincy at the Delhi franchise. The Delhi franchise that bought him for close to $1.7 million. What's the reason? And is that a fair call? Australia is upset and rankled by India winning the Champions Trophy, so much so that they have called it all a farce. Why is the Aussie media continually targeting the Indian cricket team and its setup? And former Pakistan cricketing legend and captain Shahid Afridi has boldly called the management out for their lopsided changes, saying that Pakistan cricket is in the ICU. With the series against New Zealand starting soon, what's Pakistan cricket grappling with now? More on the show, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. We'll start with football. Liverpool have been knocked out of the Champions League. The English club lost on penalties to Paris Saint-Germain in a round of 16 match. Liverpool hosted PSG with a 1-0 lead in the first leg. Ousmane Dembele cancelled that advantage with a goal in the 12th minute. With scores level, the match went into penalties. Liverpool lost it 1-4. Meanwhile, Liverpool's rivals, Manchester United, have proposed a plan to build a new stadium in the city. The proposed $2.6 billion facility will be the largest in UK. It's expected to have a seating capacity of 100,000. In the Women's Premier League, Mumbai's dream to finish on top of the table was ruined after losing to Bengaluru in the last league game. Smriti Mandhana's 53 guided Bengaluru to an 11-run win. After finishing second, Mumbai will now face Gujarat in what looks like the semi-final. That's the knockout. Table toppers Delhi have qualified for the final directly. On to tennis. World number 2 Iga Swiatek has entered the quarterfinal of the Indian Wells Masters. Swiatek beat Karolina Muchova in straight sets. The defending champion will now face Chinwen Chang. And in Formula 1, India's Kush Maini secured a slot as test and reserve driver for the Renault-owned F1 team Alpine. The Bengaluru-based driver is the third Indian after Naren Karthikeyan and Karun Chandok to join a Formula 1 side. Delhi Capitals is in the final of the T20 League. Gosh, not the men's cricket team, the women. The men's IPL team is having far too many problems to deal with off the pitch already, much before the start of the season. And the latest is that they have no captain yet. And maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea. KL Rahul has politely declined captaincy at the Delhi franchise for the 2025 season. He's told them he's not interested in leading the side and will contribute in every other way he can. So in addition to losing out Harry Brook, who decided to reject this addition to take care of national duty, a key batter in their lineup, Delhi now is headless, no captain just yet. So why did KL Rahul say no? Although this is a shocker, someone in KL Rahul's shoes with the current ODI captain Rohit Sharma in his last phase would technically jump at the prospect of showing he can lead a cricket side. Knowing it's KL Rahul, this decision doesn't come as a complete surprise. IPL and KL Rahul, especially as captain, has been a very torrid, heated affair. Especially his stint at LSG, where his fallout with the owner Sanjiv Goenka has been so fiery, we are certain it scarred him. The dressing down was public, shameful, and a younger captain in that same situation would have completely lost confidence in himself and his team. Not the kind of environment you want to lead a side in. So the exit from Lucknow was expected, yes, and it was just as dramatic, with KL Rahul openly speaking about how a team environment ideally should be and how is essential and critical for success. particularly in the IPL, where you have players across the world getting into one single dressing room?
I just want to be part of a team that has a good environment. You feel loved, cared for, and respected in that environment, and everyone on that franchise has one single goal to win. Then that's a perfect fit.
Now, he said this while speaking to the broadcaster after the last season, so really not wanting to relive the trauma of a captain struggling once more with his squad and with the management is probably what spurred him to make this call. And his record as skipper in the IPL is not something he can go to town with, let's be honest there. KL Rahul captained the Punjab and Lucknow franchises. He led them in 64 games in total and has a win percentage of below 50. Not something that is even above average. So safe to say two things here. One, KL Rahul was not willing to tempt fate, although with a fresh setup all over again, especially after bruising experience last year at LSG. Two, he probably feels he will contribute and deliver much better as a senior in the ranks with his primary skills, batting and keeping wickets. Captaincy is not for everyone. No matter how senior and mature the cricketer turns out to be, the best part is KL Rahul seems to have realized that, accepted it, and here's why that holds true. Because you're looking at a cricketer who has done absolutely everything his Indian management and the think tank have asked of him. Kept wickets, yes sir. Open the innings, gladly. Go one drop, ready for it. Bat lower down the order, happily will do so. KL Rahul, much like his namesake, who was one of the best batters India ever produced, Rahul Dravid, has donned every possible role that his team has asked him to. And not gone after glory. He's gone after the vision, the idea of winning as a team, and that's what's driven him. He's been Team India's Man Friday, bailing them out like he did at the Champions Trophy just recently, batting at number 6. The hunger for hundreds is special, yes. It's what drives the likes of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma to superstardom. But it's also important to celebrate those who strive to make those key 30s and 40s, the just pass, just when the country needs them the most. And just like his batting or his wicket-keeping, both of which he performs with great diligence, KL Rahul leads, but not with the captain's tag under his name. India's Champions Trophy win has had a massive impact across the globe. While the triumph was celebrated across the country, some cricketing countries were not able to appreciate this win just as much. I'm not referring to Pakistan or New Zealand, who lost to India in the final. Australia seems to be mighty miffed. Wait, it's not the Australian cricket team, though I would think that would be the more logical scenario. It's the famous Aussie media that's at it again. Media outlet Fox Sports has called India's Champions Trophy win a farce. Another group, Australia Media Corporation, went a step ahead, saying farcical may not even be the strongest word to describe India's glory. Now, the fact that sections of the Aussie media are crying foul comes as little surprise. The source of information has become a source to target India for months now. Because every time they feel a little intimidated by the Asian cricketing giants, they resort to questioning their triumph, or better yet, mocking them. Basically acting as their cricket team's 12th player. Because clearly they feel their own team needs that ammunition. They always find a reason to justify their team's loss and question India's win, especially when it's these two, of course, who's sparring each other, obviously because there's been a history of this. Just 2 months ago, when India toured Australia for the Border Gavaskar Trophy, the Aussie media went to town. It started, of course, with a publication calling the cricketer Virat Kohli a clown. This after Kohli was involved in a showdown with Aussie debutant Sam Constas. Even targeted captain Rohit Sharma, calling him a crybaby. And it didn't stop there. When Kohli asked a journalist to not film his family outside the Melbourne airport, he basically asking the journalist to respect his personal space and privacy, Aussie broadcaster Tony Jones called Kohli a bully. All-rounder Ravindra Jadeja wasn't spared either. While Jadeja was addressing a media briefing in Melbourne, something that was reserved for just the travelling journalists, the travelling Indian journalists, Aussie reporters started asking questions and ridiculed Jadeja for not answering them in English instead of in Hindi, which he did. Multiple outlets carried reports alleging non-cooperation from Ravindra Jadeja during that event. It was not just the Aussie media attacking the Indian cricket team. Aussie fans pick up the additional burden of doing just as much. India were forced to cancel their open net sessions after thousands of fans gathered at the first one and heckled the Indian cricketers, body shaming some and taunting the dot balls. So much so that some fans even decided to do the same when Virat Kohli was walking back to the dressing room at the MCG during the test, leading to Kohli losing his cool. Yes, Kohli is just as hot-headed, there is no denying that, but you simply cannot disregard the Aussie intent, the birthplace of sledging itself. Of course, they are harsh on their own team when it needs to be, and it was not just aimed at the Indian cricketers alone. That's the point of it. It's a larger system in place. At the Melbourne cricket ground, Indian fans were subjected to racist jibes.
Where's your visa? 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 Where's your visa?
Clearly, it's a part of their psyche, and all through the series, the Australian media acted as the extra player for the Australian cricket squad. What's the need for the media to act like the official spokesperson waiting to unleash fury on the opposition team, and in this case, of course, the Indian team? Or do they feel their players cannot intimidate the Indian cricketers well enough on the pitch? Take the matter they have raised a cry over now, calling India's victory a farce. Their own captain, Steve Smith, post that loss, had this to say.
I'm not buying into it. India obviously played some really good cricket here. The surface kind of suits their style with the spinners that they've got and the seamers that they have at their disposal for a wicket like that. They played well. They outplayed us, and they deserve the victory.
Sure, India got to play all their matches in one city. It was a tad unfortunate, but clearly the best team in the tournament won. Smith acknowledged it in as many words, so why can't the Australian media? The India versus Australia rivalry has become an iconic affair. It's a great contest that has taken shape over the decades and made the sport richer. It generates much fanfare, monies, and brings in a lot of the excitement. A battle of two cricket giants competing for glory, going toe-to-toe. So shouldn't it be played on just the field? Shouldn't that be the rivalry that we restrict it to the intense and amazing contest that the two cricketing sides produce? Or do the Aussie media feel that words have a larger impact than this? After failure at another ICC event, Pakistan cricket team is gearing up for the next chapter, and it begins by taking on New Zealand in just some days from now. But even before Pakistan could focus on that, questions have begun to raise on Pakistan's post-Champions Trophy shake-up. And PCB management is once again facing the ire. They're being blamed for sending Pakistan cricket to the Intensive Care Unit, or the ICU. Pakistan cricket needs oxygen support, yes, we know that, and fast. After failing to win a single match at the Champions Trophy, the country made massive changes to their squad. Mohammad Rizwan, their captain, was not only axed from T20 captaincy but was dropped from the side altogether. Babar Azam too was shown the door. Shahid Khan, who last played at the 2024 T20 World Cup, has been called back in, and that's raised eyebrows. Shahid failed to find a place in the Pakistan squad for 8 months now. He was omitted from the Champions Trophy campaign owing to his poor form. And now, less than a year later, he's not just been called back up, but has also been given the additional responsibility of being the vice captain. All of this making a former captain, Shahid Afridi, very angry.
On what basis has he been recalled? What are his performances in domestic cricket or otherwise that he had been picked again? The fact is Pakistan cricket is in ICU because of incorrect decisions.
Afridi clearly feels a move that was supposed to act as a ventilator support is proving to be a disastrous one. Fact is, Shadab Khan hasn't had a remarkable international career to back him here. The all-rounder has had an average T20 stint with Pakistan. In the 104 matches that he has played, he averages 17.86 while batting with a strike rate of a little over 130. While bowling too, he's picked up 107 wickets at an economy of 7.24. Not a grand career to show if you are an all-rounder, and a decision that only shows Pakistan making a U-turn on their own call not too long ago. Because Shadab didn't play any domestic T20 matches post the World Cup too, and yet he was picked as the vice-captain in the squad. So how come he suddenly became so important when he was clearly not needed 8 months ago? Or is it just Pakistan's age-old mantra of making rapid changes to show they are working on creating a turnaround?
There is no continuity, consistency in the board's decisions and policies. We keep changing captains, coaches or some players, but in the end, what is the accountability for board officials? How can our cricket progress when there is a sword hanging constantly over the captain and coach's heads?
Afridi, who himself has been part of a golden phase for Pakistan cricket, didn't just slam the PCB management. He went ahead to highlight what is plaguing Pakistan cricket according to him. He spoke about a conversation he had with PCB chief Mohsin Naqvi, where the chief accepted that he didn't know much about the sport.
He wants to do well for Pakistan, but in the end, he depends on advice, and I told him he can't continue doing 3 jobs at a time. He needs to focus on one job because being PCB chairman is a full-time job.
Afridi says, of course, Naqvi wants what's good for Pakistan cricket. But here's the question. Shouldn't the person who's in charge of a country's cricket board should either be a former player or someone who's got enough knowledge of how things work, especially in a country like Pakistan or even India? In India, the president of the cricket board is Roger Binny, a World Cup winner. And over in Pakistan, the PCB chief is also the interior minister of Pakistan. How does that justify his position as chief? Not saying he had anything to do with the squad selection, but if the leader isn't taking cricket seriously, how will people work under that vision? The biggest example of Naqvi prioritizing cricket had to be the Champions Trophy presentation ceremony. Despite Pakistan being the host, Naqvi decided to give the final a miss. Why? We don't know just yet. Like Afridi says, it is the case of too many things on his plate, and that's driving the focus away. Whatever the case, Pakistan cricket needs more than just a ventilator support. It needs surgery, and preferably by one who has the right credentials and the time to do it in. Time for last serve. We end on a rather somber note. The long-awaited trial of Diego Maradona's death has begun. The football star's nurses, brain surgeon and psychiatrists have been accused of homicide by negligence. In the middle of all this, Argentina took to the streets to show their anger. That wraps it up here today on Firstpost. I'll of course see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. Bye-bye.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogan, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Lohon, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.